Beloved, listen to me carefully. I am not just speaking to your ears today. I am speaking to your spirit. 2026 is not just another year. It is a year that God has meticulously planned for your life. Every moment, every encounter, every door that opens, every challenge that comes, every blessing that awaits, it has been ordered by God himself. So many of us ignore divine instruction, we get distracted. We follow the noise of the world instead of the voice of God. We chase approval instead of destiny. And yet God is calling you, guiding you, whispering to you, do not ignore this instruction. This is a year to rise above confusion, hesitation, and doubt. This is a year to step boldly into the path that God has prepared for you. The enemy will try to confuse you. The world will try to tempt you to shortcuts. Divine order cannot be rushed, it cannot be cheated, and it cannot be denied. Your life is under divine orchestration. Your job, your business, your relationships, your finances, everything is being lined up in perfect alignment. But you must respond. You must act with faith. You must listen with clarity. Ignoring God's instruction is no longer an option. Some of you have prayed for doors to open. Well, God is opening them. Some of you have asked for favor. God is placing it in your path. Some of you have sought clarity. God is sending the light. But you must recognize the signal. You must walk when God tells you to walk and wait when God tells you to wait. Timing is divine. The hand of God is guiding you. God is not ordering your life to punish you. He is ordering it to bless you, elevate you, and prepare you for greatness. Your destiny is not random. Your breakthroughs are not by chance. Your victories are not delayed forever. Will you hear the call? Will you recognize the instruction and follow it without hesitation? Or will you let this year pass you by, the favor of God waiting at the door, and you standing outside? 2026 is a year of divine alignment. Your life is being ordered. The question is, will you obey? Will you move in step with God's perfect plan? Do not ignore this instruction. Step forward in faith. Rise in obedience. Watch as God turns your life into a testimony of his glory. 2026 is not just another year. It is a year that has been meticulously planned by God himself. Every moment, every opportunity, every challenge, every blessing, nothing in your life happens by accident. Nothing is random. There is a divine blueprint for your life, and God is orchestrating it with precision. Too often, we live as if our lives are just a series of coincidences, as if success, relationships, or opportunities appear by luck or timing. But I tell you today, God is not a God of randomness. He is a God of order. He is a God of strategy. He has a plan for you in 2026 that is beyond what your mind can comprehend, beyond what your eyes can see, beyond what your imagination can capture. Your circumstances do not define your destiny. Your finances do not limit your breakthrough. Your past failures do not cancel your future victories. The divine plan is larger than your setbacks, stronger than your fears, and brighter than your doubts. Every delay you have experienced, every closed door, every disappointment, God has been redirecting your life to align perfectly with his purpose. Imagine this. A master architect building a house. Every brick, every beam, every window, every door is deliberately placed according to a plan. No detail is left to chance. No corner is unmeasured. God is the master architect of your life. 2026 is the year when the architecture of your destiny comes into alignment. Every experience, every person you meet, every challenge, and every opportunity is part of that divine blueprint. You must recognize it. You must position yourself to walk in alignment with it. God's plan requires awareness, faith, and obedience. You cannot stumble into your destiny by accident. You cannot drift into favor. You cannot ignore divine instruction and expect results. God is ordering your steps, and you must follow the direction he provides. Some of you will look at 2026 and see obstacles, challenges, or delays, and you will be tempted to believe that nothing is happening. But I tell you today, what looks like delay is often divine preparation. God is aligning people, resources, and circumstances so that when the time comes, everything falls into place at exactly the right moment. Nothing is early, nothing is late, and nothing is wasted. Every major figure in history, every story of breakthrough in Scripture, and every testimony of transformation came because someone recognized the divine plan and aligned with it. Joseph was sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned, but he never lost sight of God's plan. David faced giants, betrayal, exile, but he trusted the divine order of his life. Esther uncertainty and fear, but she moved boldly when she realized her life was divinely positioned for such a time as this. Your story for 2026 is no different, but there is a warning here. Divine planning requires cooperation. God will prepare, God will align, God will order, but he cannot do the work of your obedience for you. If you ignore the signs, delay action, or choose convenience over faith, the plan can stall. Opportunities can pass, doors can close, favor can be redirected. That is why awareness, discernment, and readiness are so critical. 2026 is the year where preparation meets opportunity. This is the year where your past, present, and future intersect in divine alignment. Every lesson you have learned, every trial you have endured, every moment of faithfulness, you were being positioned for this season. The divine plan is not just about success. It is about alignment. It is about walking in the purpose God created you for. It is about stepping into your God-given destiny with confidence and courage. Now, some of you are worried about time and you are thinking, I am not ready. I don't have what I need. I don't know how I will succeed. Listen to me. Divine planning is not dependent on your readiness. It is dependent on your obedience. God will equip you, strengthen you, and prepare you as you follow the path he has laid out. You cannot manufacture your destiny. You must step into it as God directs. This is why prayer, reflection, and spiritual discernment are vital. You cannot align with a plan you cannot hear. God speaks to those who listen. He directs those who are attentive. He rewards those who follow instructions faithfully. And in 2026, his plan is clear. Move when he tells you to move. Wait when he tells you to wait. Trust him through every season. Do not ignore the signs. Do not allow fear, doubt, or distraction to keep you from walking in the plan God has for you. Divine blueprint for 2026 is not just about survival. It is about dominion, impact, and transformation. Your life is being positioned to influence others, to achieve victories, and to shine with God's glory. Commit to walking in alignment with God's plan. Recognize the divine orchestration in your life. Trust that every delay, every challenge, and every blessing is part of the masterpiece he is creating. Obey even when it is difficult. Move forward, even when the path is unclear, and do not settle for convenience, for compromise, or for shortcuts. Your destiny is waiting. Your season of favor is here. Your divine plan for 2026 has already been set in motion. The doors are opening. The opportunities are aligning. The resources are being positioned. Your role in God's plan is unique, specific, and essential. Those who align with divine planning will experience favor, breakthroughs, testimony beyond imagination. Those who ignore it may find delay, confusion, and frustration. But those who hear, obey, step into God's timing, will see miracles unfold, doors open, and lives transformed. 2026 is your year of divine alignment. God is ordering your steps. God is orchestrating your life. God is preparing your destiny. Recognize it, align with it, step boldly into it. Watch as your life becomes a testimony of his wisdom, power, and glory. There is a danger in your life that many overlook. It is silently robbing people of their breakthroughs, blessings, and destinies. That danger is ignoring God's instruction. Yes, there is a difference between hearing God and obeying God. There is a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. There is a difference between seeing opportunity and responding to opportunity. Too often, people hear the call, sense the direction, even receive clear guidance, and yet they do nothing. They ignore the instruction. They postpone obedience. They rationalize delay and compromise. Ignoring instruction is dangerous. It is costly. It is destructive. It may look harmless for a season, but the consequences are real and the effects can echo for years. Every delay, every hesitation, every act of disobedience has a price. Every time you choose your own way over God's way, you risk missing the divine alignment that is designed for your life. Consider this: God's instruction is never arbitrary. It is never random. It is not a suggestion. It is not a guideline. It is a command for your blessing, your growth, your favor, and your destiny. When God instructs you to move, it is because the season is right. When God instructs you to wait, it is because preparation is necessary. When God instructs you to speak, it is because the word will impact lives. And when you ignore these instructions, you block the very flow of your destiny. Some of you are ignoring instructions because they are inconvenient. They are difficult. They challenge your comfort zone. They ask you to make sacrifices, to trust without seeing, to step into the unknown. But hear me clearly, the very thing you resist is the thing that will propel you forward. Ignoring it may feel easier today, but it will cost you tomorrow. Ignoring it may bring temporary relief, but it will delay your breakthrough. Ignoring it may save you discomfort, but it will steal your destiny. Think about every major failure, every missed opportunity, every delay in your life, and trace it back. Often, the common thread is ignoring divine instruction. How many times did you sense God speaking, felt his nudging, and yet chose your own path? How many times did you put your own understanding above God's wisdom? How many times did you compromise and rationalize, thinking you were smarter than the divine plan? And what was the result? Delay, frustration, loss, regret. God's instruction is also protective. It is a shield against danger, a safeguard for your life, and a guide to keep you from harm. Ignoring instruction exposes you to unnecessary risks. Ignoring instruction allows mistakes that could have been avoided. Ignoring instruction often leads to paths filled with confusion, stress, and chaos. The enemy loves it when God's people ignore instruction because he knows that when you step out of divine order, you make yourself vulnerable. Obedience brings life, delay brings loss, and disobedience brings consequences. Every instruction God gives you is not for punishment. It is for blessing. It is not for limitation. It is for elevation. It is not to make your life difficult. It is to align your life with destiny. And when you ignore it, you are rejecting the very hand that is holding your future. Some of you have been warned repeatedly, but you are still ignoring the signs. You are still resisting the call. You are still rationalizing, I will do it later. I don't understand yet, or it's not the right time. Hear me, there is never a better time than the time God sets. Divine timing is perfect, and delay can be deadly. Opportunities have windows. Favor has seasons. Instructions must be obeyed in the moment, or the moment passes. With it, the blessing. The stories of the Bible are filled with people who faced consequences because they ignored instruction. Jonah ran from the call and spent 3 days in the belly of the fish. Saul disobeyed God and lost the kingdom he was meant to inherit. Adam and Eve ignored God's instruction and opened the door to consequences that affected all of humanity. These are not just stories, they are warnings. Principle is the same today. Ignoring instruction comes with consequences, whether immediate or delayed. It is never too late to realign. It is never too late to turn back. God's mercy is limitless and his grace is ready to guide you back to the path of obedience. But you must act. You must respond. You must stop rationalizing and start obeying. You must stop postponing and start moving. You must stop ignoring and start listening. Your breakthrough, your destiny, and your future depend on it. Ignoring instruction is not a minor error. It is not a small oversight. It is a serious spiritual misstep that can derail your life. It can delay your breakthrough, rob your favor, and block your destiny. But obedience, faithful, immediate, wholehearted obedience aligns you with God's power, God's timing, and God's blessings. Obedience is the bridge between where you are and where God has called you to be. In 2026, God is ordering your life with precision. He is giving instructions, opening doors, and creating opportunities. He is sending signs, moments, and nudges. And the warning is clear: do not ignore them. Do not delay. Do not rationalize. Do not compromise. The blessings you are seeking, the breakthroughs you are praying for, the destiny you are reaching for, they are tied to your willingness to respond. I will no longer ignore instruction. I will no longer rationalize delay. I will no longer choose convenience over destiny. I will obey even when it is hard. I will move even when it is uncomfortable. I will trust even when I cannot see. And as I do, I will step into the fullness of the life God has ordered for me. Do not take this lightly. Do not let 2026 pass without alignment. Every instruction you receive from God is a step toward your destiny. Every warning is a call to faithfulness. Every sign is an invitation to walk in divine favor. Ignoring instruction is not an option. Obedience is not optional. Your future depends on your response today. The hand of God is guiding your life, but you must follow the path. The door of opportunity is open, but you must walk through it. The instructions have been given, but you must obey. Ignoring instruction is dangerous. Ignoring instruction is costly. Ignoring instruction delays destiny. Do not ignore it. Do not delay. Do not rationalize. Respond today and watch as God turns obedience into breakthrough, instruction into elevation, alignment into testimony. 2026 is a year of destiny. God is ordering your steps. God is orchestrating your life. God is giving instruction. Heed it, follow it, walk in it, and do not ignore it because your future depends on it. Distraction and temptation are the silent thieves of destiny. They creep in quietly, they look harmless at first, and they masquerade as opportunity, comfort, or even necessity. But make no mistake, ultimate purpose is to derail you from the life God has planned for you. 2026 is a year of divine alignment, a year of opportunity, a year where God is ordering your steps. And if you are not careful, distractions and temptations will keep you from walking fully in that divine plan. Distraction is everywhere. It is not just the obvious, the noise of the world, the endless social media scrolls, the constant chatter around us. Distraction is subtle. It comes as business. It comes as good opportunities that pull you away from the best opportunities. It comes as the urgent, the seemingly important, the tasks that fill your day but do not fill your purpose. Distraction is a spiritual enemy. It steals your focus, your energy, ultimately your results. Temptation is even more dangerous. Temptation whispers, take the shortcut. Compromise just this once. Do what feels good. Do what everyone else is doing. Temptation appeals to the flesh. It appeals to pride, and it appeals to impatience. And if you give into it, even once, it can have a ripple effect on your destiny. Every time you cave to temptation, every time you choose comfort over principle, every time you compromise your integrity for convenience, you are opening the door to consequences that delay your breakthroughs and distort your purpose. Distraction and temptation are designed to rob you of your focus, your time, and your divine alignment. They are designed to make you miss the windows of opportunity God has opened for you. They are designed to make you second guess your calling, question your faith, and settle for mediocrity. And the worst part is, they are cunning. They often come dressed as something good. A tempting opportunity may seem lucrative, but pull you away from your God-ordained path. A distraction may appear necessary, but it costs you precious time, energy, and clarity. God has a plan for your life. God has a purpose for 2026, and the enemy will fight against it. He will try to pull you away with distractions, tasks that fill your schedule but not your purpose, people who drain your energy instead of building you up, entertainment that pacifies instead of empowers. And he will try to seduce you with temptations, shortcuts that promise immediate gain but cost your integrity, decisions that seem harmless but create spiritual debt, pleasures that feel good today but leave emptiness tomorrow. You may be thinking, but I'm strong, I can handle it, I can multitask, I can balance it all. Let me tell you something, no one can serve two masters. No one can give their best to God while divided by distraction and temptation. Your focus is finite. Your energy is limited. Your attention is sacred. When you scatter it on things that do not matter, you reduce the impact you were created to make. The time, the energy, the talent, and anointing God has given you must be reserved for divine purpose, not wasted on distractions or diverted by temptation. Every major failure, every missed opportunity, every delay in breakthrough is often tied to distraction or temptation. Look at the stories of Scripture. Samson was gifted with strength, but distraction and temptation with Delilah led to his downfall. David was chosen, anointed, and blessed, yet his moment of temptation with Bathsheba almost destroyed his life. Peter, despite being a leader, is tempted to deny Christ and stumbled in a moment of pressure. These are not just ancient stories. They are spiritual principles that apply to you today. Beloved, 2026 is too important to waste on distractions. It is too critical to fall for temptation. God is ordering your life, opening doors, and aligning circumstances for your breakthrough. And you must guard your heart, your mind, and your focus. You must prioritize obedience, faith, and perseverance over pleasure, convenience, or superficial allure. The devil will come dressed as an opportunity, a person, a shortcut, or a distraction. But your job is to discern and stay anchored. Discipline is your weapon. Focus is your shield. Prayer is your compass. When distraction pulls at you, prayer brings you back. When temptation whispers, discipline keeps you aligned. when the world screams for your attention. Focus keeps your eyes on the divine prize. The stronger your discipline, the sharper your focus, the closer you are to your destiny. Every distraction avoided and every temptation resisted is a step closer to destiny. Every time you say no to what feels good but is not right, you are saying yes to God's plan. Every time you turn away from easy shortcuts, you are turning toward lasting success. Every time you protect your time, energy, and focus, you are investing in the blessings, breakthroughs, and testimonies that God has prepared for you. Some of you have been wandering, pulled here and there, given in to every distraction, allowing every temptation to dictate your path. But I challenge you today, 2026 will not be the year of distraction. It will not be the year of compromise. It will be the year of alignment, focus, and divine breakthrough. You will need to guard your mind, protect your energy, and sharpen your spiritual discernment. You will need to separate what is urgent from what is important, what is temporary from what is eternal. Distraction and temptation will come for you. They will try to delay your breakthrough, steal your joy, weaken your resolve. But you have a choice. You can succumb to the noise, the shortcuts, and the allure, or you can rise above, stay anchored in purpose, keep your eyes fixed on God. The choice is yours. Obedience brings elevation. Distraction brings stagnation. Temptation brings compromise. Focus brings fulfillment. Discipline brings destiny. Guard your focus. Protect your energy. Resist every temptation. Avoid every distraction that pulls you from your purpose. In 2026, God is orchestrating your life, and the path to your destiny requires undivided attention, wavering faith, and unshakable obedience. Don't let distraction and temptation steal what God has prepared for you. Step boldly, stay faithful, walk in integrity, keep your eyes on the prize, and watch as God turns your focus into favor, your discipline into breakthroughs, your obedience into testimony, recognizing divine signals. In 2026, God is ordering your life with precision, aligning circumstances, opening doors, and orchestrating encounters that will shift your destiny. But here's the truth: if you cannot recognize His signals, you may miss your blessing. You may walk past opportunities, ignore guidance, and delay the fulfillment of your purpose. God does not work randomly. He does not speak ambiguously. He communicates, He directs, He positions, and He signals, and your life will remain stagnant if you do not discern these divine cues. Divine signals come in many forms. Sometimes they arrive as words in prayer, scripture, or prophetic insight. Sometimes they arrive as circumstances, a closed door, a sudden opportunity, an unexpected encounter, or even a challenge designed to redirect you. Sometimes they are subtle, a gut feeling, a recurring thought, or a peace or unease that alerts your spirit. These are not coincidences. These are not random occurrences. These are God's fingerprints on your life, guiding you toward alignment with His plan. Recognizing divine signals requires awareness. It requires stillness. It requires attentiveness of spirit. So often people are too busy to notice. They are moving so fast, so distracted, so caught up in the noise of the world that they miss the whisper of God. They mistake divine guidance for coincidence. They dismiss clarity as luck. They pass opportunities thinking they are ordinary. Beloved, what you perceive as ordinary may very well be extraordinary divine instruction. God is not going to force you into obedience. He signals. He nudges. He illuminates the path, and He waits for you to respond. Divine signals are always invitations to align with your destiny. But if you ignore them, procrastinate, or rationalize them away, the opportunity passes, doors close, favor is delayed, destiny is stalled. That is why spiritual discernment is essential. That is why attentiveness of heart is non-negotiable. In the Bible, divine signals were everywhere. Noah received the warning about the flood, a signal that required action. Abraham was instructed to leave his familiar home for a land he did not know, a signal demanding faith. Joseph interpreted dreams, a divine signal that positioned him to save nations. Esther recognized the timing of her life, a signal that called her to courage and advocacy. All of these were ordinary humans responding to divine signals. Their obedience changed the course of history. And here is the spiritual principle: divine signals always precede destiny. He is orchestrating your life. He is opening doors, sending people, and aligning opportunities. The question is, will you recognize his signal? Will you see the pattern, hear the whisper, discern the path, and respond? Or will you miss it, thinking it is just coincidence, luck, or timing? Those who fail to recognize divine signals often live a life of regret. Those who perceive and act upon them step into a life of favor, purpose, and breakthrough. Recognizing divine signals requires preparation. You cannot see what you are not ready to perceive. You cannot hear what you are not listening for. You cannot act on what you do not understand. That is why prayer, meditation, reflection, and obedience are essential. You must cultivate a heart and mind that are in tune with God's voice. You must quiet the noise of the world and the chatter of doubt. You must sharpen your spiritual senses so that when God signals, you recognize it immediately and respond decisively. Divine signals often test your courage. They push you beyond comfort. They require faith that defies logic. They demand action when the path seems unclear. And this is where most people stumble. They see the signal, but they hesitate. They hear the call, but they delay. They feel the nudge, but they rationalize away the urgency. And in doing so, they forfeit the very blessings that were designed for them. The more you respond to God's signals, the clearer they become. The more you act on guidance, the more attuned you become to discernment. The more you obey, the sharper your spiritual senses. God honors responsiveness. He magnifies obedience. He rewards those who recognize, respond, and walk in alignment. And here is the promise in 2026. If you are attentive, if you are responsive, if you are ready, divine signals will lead you into breakthroughs that exceed your imagination. Some of you are ignoring signals because they are inconvenient. They require sacrifice. They demand change. They challenge your comfort, your plans, your expectations. But hear me today. The signal may not always be convenient, but it is always necessary. Every closed door, every redirected path, every unexpected encounter is God's way of signaling you to the right course. Ignoring it is dangerous. Responding to it is life-changing. Recognizing divine signals also requires humility. You must surrender your agenda, your timing, your understanding, and your pride. You must trust that God sees more, knows more, and plans more than you ever could. And when you recognize a signal and step forward in faith, you participate in the unfolding of your destiny. You move in harmony with the divine orchestration. You align your life with purpose. And you position yourself for favor and breakthrough. Sharpen your spiritual discernment. Tune your heart to hear the whispers. Observe the patterns in your life. Notice the nudges and interruptions. Pay attention to people, opportunities, and circumstances that are appearing with precision. Divine signals are everywhere. They are your compass. They are your guide. They are the markers that separate ordinary life from extraordinary destiny. Do not be passive. Do not be distracted. Do not dismiss the subtle. Recognize it. Respond to it. Move in alignment with it. And watch as God transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary miracles. Ordinary doors into divine appointments and ordinary decisions into life-changing breakthroughs. The hand of God is moving. And divine signals are guiding your steps. If you miss them, you delay your breakthrough. If you recognize them, you accelerate your destiny. Your life in 2026 will reflect the choices you make today. Choices to observe, listen, discern, and obey. Divine signals are not for the passive, the distracted, careless. They are for those who are awake, aware, and ready. The signals are coming. They are precise. They are timely. They are life-changing. Recognize them, respond to them, and step boldly into the destiny God has ordered for you in 2026. Obedience over convenience. It is easy to choose comfort, to choose the path that feels safe, to take the shortcut, to settle for what is easy. But the path of convenience is rarely the path of blessing. It is rarely the path of growth. And it is rarely the path that leads to the fulfillment of God's purpose in your life. Obedience is not always easy. Obedience is not always immediate. Obedience is not always convenient. In fact, obedience often requires sacrifice. It often requires patience. Often calls for faith that defies logic. But hear me today, obedience always produces results that convenience never can. Every time you obey God, even when it is hard, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it challenges your understanding, you position yourself for favor, breakthroughs, Divine alignment. Abraham was asked to leave his home and go to a land he had never seen. It was inconvenient. It was uncertain. It was uncomfortable. Abraham obeyed, and because he obeyed, he became the father of nations. Joseph was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned. Yet he obeyed God's guidance in interpreting dreams and maintaining integrity. His obedience led him to become a ruler, saving nations in the process. Every story of breakthrough in Scripture is rooted in obedience, not convenience. The world constantly tempts us toward convenience. It tells us to settle. It tells us to compromise. It tells us to choose comfort over principle. It tells us to take the shortcut, even if it conflicts with God's instruction. The danger is that convenience feels good. It feels safe. It gives the illusion of relief, but it is temporary. Convenience may protect you from immediate discomfort, but it will delay your breakthrough. Convenience may ease your journey for a moment, but it will cost you your destiny in the long term. Obedience, on the other hand, requires courage. It requires discipline. It requires faith. Obedience often feels uncomfortable because it pushes you beyond your comfort zone. It asks you to trust when you cannot see. It asks you to step into unknown territory. It asks you to act when others are standing still. But it is in these moments of obedience, in the moments when you choose principle over ease, that you position yourself for divine alignment. How many times have you delayed action because it was inconvenient? How many times have you avoided speaking the truth because it was uncomfortable? How many times have you passed up an opportunity to help, to lead, or to step forward because it was easier to do nothing? And what was the result? Delay, missed opportunities, regret, and sometimes compromise. The cost of convenience is far greater than the challenge of obedience. Obedience also builds character. It strengthens faith. It teaches perseverance. When you choose obedience over convenience, you develop resilience. You grow in wisdom. You learn to trust God's timing, God's guidance, and God's provision. Convenience offers temporary comfort, but obedience produces lasting transformation. It molds your spirit, aligns your life with destiny, and positions you for greater impact. Here is a principle: obedience requires prioritization. You must decide what is more important: your comfort or your calling, your ease or your destiny, your convenience or your alignment with God's plan. Every decision you make is either a step toward obedience or a step toward compromise. Every choice to obey, even in small things, strengthens your ability to obey in greater matters. Every decision to choose convenience over obedience weakens your influence and delays your breakthrough. Beloved, obedience is also an act of faith. It says, I trust God's plan even when I cannot see it. I trust His wisdom even when it is difficult. I trust His timing even when it is inconvenient. Obedience is a declaration that God's instruction is more valuable than comfort. It is a statement that principle matters more than pleasure. It is a choice to honor divine guidance above personal convenience. God honors obedience. He elevates those who obey. He opens doors that convenience cannot open. He grants favor that shortcuts cannot provide. He blesses the faithful who choose principle over ease, discipline over indulgence, and integrity over compromise. The blessings that God has for you in 2026 are directly tied to your willingness to choose obedience over convenience. Some of you are struggling because you have been choosing convenience for too long. You have been compromising, delaying, rationalizing, and avoiding the hard path. And as a result, your breakthrough has been delayed, your purpose has been stalled, and your destiny has been postponed. Here is the good news: it is never too late to choose obedience. It is never too late to align with God's instruction. It is never too late to step out in faith, even when it is inconvenient, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it challenges everything you know. It will not be a year for compromise. It will not be a year for convenience. It will be a year for alignment, for faith, for obedience, and for purpose. God is ordering your life. Doors are opening. Opportunities are aligning. Favor is coming. But your obedience is required. Your faith is required. Your willingness to choose principle over comfort is required. Choose obedience over convenience. Step out even when it is uncomfortable. Follow God even when it is inconvenient. Act with integrity even when it is costly. Speak truth even when it is difficult. Prioritize your destiny over your comfort. Prioritize divine instruction over temporary ease. Prioritize your calling over the path that seems easy, popular, or comfortable. Obedience is never easy, but it is always rewarding. Convenience may feel good today, but obedience produces lasting fruit, transformation, and testimony. Convenience may spare you discomfort, but obedience leads to purpose, breakthrough, and elevation. Convenience may satisfy the moment. Obedience fulfills the plan of God. Your breakthrough is waiting. Your life is being ordered by God. But it is your obedience that unlocks the doors, activates favor, and positions you for your miracle. Choose obedience over convenience. Walk in alignment with God's instruction. Step boldly into